Everyone, welcome to Rogue Ramen. We're here with Phoenix Sigalove. What do you call this one?
This is a version of Tantan Men ramen, and Tantan Men is sort of a Japanese adaptation of the Dan Dan noodles, street noodles, and it's this kind of umami bomb that has sesame and a little. I use a little peanut infused in that chicken broth. And then we do a ground pork with gochugaru and lots of spices and lots of flavor.
So what do you go for first? Like what's your go-to when you eat your bowl?
You know, usually I'll taste the broth.
Okay.
Almost always I'll go into the broth and kind of get like,
good to know.
You know, the thing to know about ramen broth is that the top of the bowl, the bottom of the bowl, middle of the bowl, you're going to have various mixtures, right? So you kind of want to get a little bit of a mix going so that you get a true flavor.
I like to slurp the noodles.
Well,
that's what you're supposed to do.
You got to slurp.
You got to slurp.
I mean, it's all about slurping.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it kind of brings out the kid in you that doesn't care about getting messy a little bit. It's gonna, you know, get on your face a little bit, get on your chin.
It cools the noodles down while they're slurping up, right?
Exactly. The real test, I think, of good ramen is the egg. And that egg should be like custard. It shouldn't be that chalky, you know, overcooked egg salad egg.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of this is a departure from what a lot of Americans grow up eating. A lot of people want their eggs just, you know, almost burnt, and some people come to the restaurant and they're like, "Can I get, you know, my egg cooked a little bit more?" And it's like, yeah, it's not supposed to be like that.
That's not the way it goes. Yeah.
Not in my world.
Brendan and I were talking about roadmaps and how you kind of decide, things happen in life, and you decide, you know, what you're going to do after those things happen, and
right.
You know, the stronger survive in a sense, because it does take strength to get through things mentally, physically.
You know, one of the things that made me move here was I was a traveling musician. I was living in California and traveling up the 5, playing all over the Pacific Northwest. And we got invited to play at a fundraiser for a family. And the little boy had a brain tumor. And this family was so stressed out. They had medical bills, you know, piling up, tens and tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And in addition to just worrying about their kid. And in one night, the community of Ashland banded together. They had maybe 7 or 8 different musical acts. A bunch of businesses donated things to be auctioned off. And at the end of the night, they gave this family over $50,000. And I saw just the beauty of this community, that, you know, if one family is suffering, then we're all suffering in a sense, and we all have an opportunity to ease that suffering. And I thought, man, this is so rare. This doesn't happen everywhere. It almost happens nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a place that I want to raise my family.
Yeah, I like that.
And so here we were, you know, 14, 15 years later, on the receiving end of that same kindness and generosity and togetherness. You know, when the fire happened, there were these food drives and clothing drives and food trucks and restaurants banded together and made food for displaced families, you know, and that went on for months and months and months. So why stay? You know, so many people left. So many people have been thinking, God, the weather is changing. We've got this new fire season. It's a 5th season now. It's inevitable, and you know, let's move back east or wherever. And that experience, going through that with my family, just galvanized our connection here with this community.
What would you say is your favorite memory or something that maybe sticks with you?
Wow. I don't know that I can say it's my favorite memory, but maybe one of the most powerful.
Yeah.
And it's something that there's a great deal of fondness that's coupled with a lot of challenge and sadness and comes from a dark period. And
I've had those. So
yes, yeah. My eldest daughter, I adopted when she was 4 years old. And when I got to spend 6.5 years, 7 years with her on a daily basis. And noodles were her great love. Everything was noodles. She had to have, whether it was mac and cheese or spaghetti. And then, I would take her to ramen, and ramen was our thing. And when her mom and I split, we went through a very difficult, heartbreaking custody battle. And I was only able to see her, very infrequently. And so I was kind of losing my mind. I was one of those dads who I spent more time with my children than any other man that I knew. And being without my kids, I felt rudderless. I was completely lost, and I wasn't able to sleep, and it was a very, very hard time. And Lycan and I were just beginning to date, and she saw me through some of that, the darkest of days. I was totally undateable at the time. I have no idea how she, stuck with me through that.
I've had that too.
Yeah.
I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had, I had insomnia, and I was just obsessing about, my children, and there was nothing that I could do. And so I kept thinking, Stella, noodles, ramen. And Lycan and I would go on these shopping, trips to the grocery store at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and get all these ingredients. And we would watch all these YouTube videos and check out all these recipes. And we would cook all night long. We had these marathon cooking sessions. We're making ramen, and the first few times was okay. Wasn't bad, trying different things. And then we would have these incredible moments like, oh my God, that's it. That's what makes it so delicious. And all of a sudden, this hope and this excitement started coming into my awareness again. And in the morning, we packaged up this ramen, and I wrote a little note for Stella from Daddy Ramen, Daddy Ramen restaurant, right? Yeah. And wrote it on the package, put it in a little bag, and we drove to school. And I, went to her cubby and put it in her cubby for her lunch. And I got to see her coming out and discovering it, and I could wave to her, maybe give her a quick hug, and then gotta go. Yeah. But that was the start of everything that we created, and it came out of this incredible longing, this incredible sadness, and incredible love. I think that the hardest thing in life is losing somebody, whether it's because they're no longer here, or in my case, she was right across town, but I couldn't see her. And the hardest thing is not being able to say I love you, not being able to show them how much you love them. And this was the vehicle. Ramen was the vehicle that we just became obsessed over it. And within a few months of those experiences, we had this idea that we got to start this business, you know? And we would go to different ramen restaurants and like, I think ours is better.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we got to sell this ramen.
That's beautiful.
So the ramen truck, Daddy Ramen, was the what was birthed.
So that's
out
the
of,
name. That's where the name came from.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Phoenix, man. So much love for you.
Same,
Thank you for
same. Thanks
being
so
here,
much.
having a conversation with me. Thank you for the ramen.
Thank you for being here.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Right
thanks,
on.
bro.
Right on. We'll see you next time with a new guest and some more delicious ramen.